this on? Did this work? Did this work? I don't know if you guys can hear me. Sorry, I've got to try to put it on my Twitter, so whatever. Not sure what's going on exactly. Sup, David Tay? Hold on, I'm just doing some housekeeping right now. Alrighty, hold on a second. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me okay? Everyone's checking in SAR. Great stuff. Love this new setting. Man, I need to be able to read that a little bit better. Is my mic low? How do I, but you can hear me? It's low. Well, that's not good. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can do something with the audio. Mic, audio, desktop audio. Why is this? What? How about now? Did that do anything? Nope, still low. Wait, how are you hearing me at all then? Do I need to... Let me try something. Maybe this will work. Bear with me, guys. I'm going through some... Wait, I can't see this fucking thing at all. I'm gonna have to make it not transparent. I think I need to... We're gonna have to do some changes around here in this environment. You're on max volume right now. Shit. How is it still fucked up right now? How's the volume right now, right this second? Oh, okay. I think it's because it's coming through my headphones now. I don't know if that's helping at all. Kinda better. How's it going, Andrew? Sorry, I don't have this is my This is my I'm in New York right now. It'll do. Well, it'll have to fucking do. I don't really have any other option. Um, but let's see. Let's see what's going on. I really wasn't gonna do a stream, but David was like, some people are waiting, and I was like, all right, I guess I should fucking do a stream. Is it just like you guys though? It's just you guys then. I guess I could just get started. But what's been going on? Anything more crazy today? I've been in the flight. I've been flying around. So yeah, I know it's kind of late, so I'm sure a lot of people probably won't even be joining because they probably think there wasn't going to be a stream, which there wasn't, and so let me just get started. We thought Ice got me. Nope, not yet. Not yet, guys. David Tay, what did David Tay do? He brought the ice goons on me. Check this up, holy cow. Um, Epstein Files is crazy. At McDonald's waiting for some burger. SAR El Funko 99. Wait, who's El Funko 99? Do I know you? Do I know you? All right, whatever. Wait, why is this so fucking laggy? Oh, I think I know why. I think I know why. Hold on, I gotta do some housekeeping. My performance is probably sucky because I need to close some programs. I'm on my laptop, so it might be a little wonky right now. I gotta get some resources, gotta close some programs maybe. So it doesn't go like 5 miles per year. Close that. I can close that one. All right. I don't think it's the Funko we know, David. I kind of had like a little falling out with that guy. I don't think he really likes me that much anymore, which is fine. Life is like a box of chocolate. Every now and then you get a fucking coconut piece and you have to throw it out the window. Oh, wait. Are you the one person who's a white guy? I feel like there's multiple guys who are white guys in Japan with wife and a kids. I don't even fucking know. I don't think it's Funko. I think you're thinking about somebody else, David Tay. You're on top chat, not live chat. You're missing half the comments. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Why is it taking like a trillion years to load? This is what I'm talking about. There we go. All right, let's see. Let's see some comments here. Man, so didn't get Clinton get impeached for far less. I think the latest Epstein files are obviously bogus. Ridiculous comments and then incriminating all the people they want incriminated. It's just silly that it's all released 10 years later. It's just totally not tampered with. You're on top chat, live chat. Okay. Well, let's. Yeah, I'm surprised there was like all these new people because I started late in the first place. I don't even fucking know. I'm just like I wasn't gonna fucking do anything, but then I was in bed and fucking David Tay's like, "Yo, are you streaming today?" Even though it's like fucking 7:30 already, or not, or 10:30, and I'm like, I wasn't going to, but I guess it's like drag myself out of bed. So my brain is like booting up again. I just took like a 3 to 4 hour nap. So as you can see by the video quality, it's from my fucking webcam on my MacBook Pro webcam. Sure, it's like shitty ass 480p right now. And yeah, I can't let my 10, 15 fans down. But yeah, today I 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. I flew out to New York. Got here at around 4:20, 4:30, maybe later. Took public transportation on the way home. Got in at probably around 6 or 6:30, and then yeah, I'm also in the middle of a 5 day fast. Day one, I'm doing a 5 day fast. I'm day 83 of my weed quit. And I noticed I'm getting like fucking fat as hell. And I decided to just do a fast as well to kind of help the last of it go along and like, hyper boost my cognitive stuff, get the ketones working, get all the, excess fat I've been, probably gaining over this stupid fucking withdrawal stuff. Um, so yeah, I haven't eaten in around 24 hours actually. I think around this time was the last time I ate. And I will probably not eat until Thursday around this time. Actually, I'm gonna probably wait. So in the past 2 weeks, I've been, because of the withdrawal stuff, I'm beginning like diarrhea and then fucking constipation, like cycles of that for the past 2 months, really. And um, and so it's been pretty bad this past month, which is probably why I haven't been making like that much content either. I've been still working on this fucking article about Goyslop, and the origins of Goyslop. Really going into like the origins of Zionism and its connection to American politics. Like I'm going fucking balls ass deep, It's just like, oh my God, I didn't know how long this would have taken me when I started. But that's why I'm also making it like a multi-part series. I might not even write about it again for a while because I'm just like so sick of all this fucking koi slop we've been experiencing. But yeah. Anyhow, that's where my mind is at right now. So in case you were wondering why I sound like a fucking drunk and retarded person who hasn't shaven or washed his face at all, just jumped on the fucking stream, then that's black coffee. Yeah, I don't know if we have black coffee at home. I don't know. It's fine. I'm awake. I had a 4 hour nap, so all right. Should get onto the carnivore diet or as close to feasible. Feels freaking get great. Yeah, I mean, I like to do these kind of resets every now and then anyway. You guys, I don't know if you guys know, some of you guys may be aware, but my diet is pretty shitty. Probably should start improving that, especially now I'm 42. And I think I'm gonna make a lot of changes once I have my own place again in New York, and I can like kind of like have a little bit more freedom of movement. Having two roommates, it is harder to get into a routine for stuff like that. So and since I'm moving soon anyway, I just feel like I'm just gonna wait till I'm in New York to kind of get that all started. But yeah, because I'm unhealthy, I kind of do these 4 or 5 days fasts, and it kind of like, you know, resets the body, rejiggers the ketones and the whatever, gets the free radicals out of the bloodstream. All the good autophagy shit happens and whatever. Um, the carnivore diet is for retards. Yeah, I mean, You definitely don't want to do it wrong, Manwag. I know people who have gone on the keto diet and it didn't quite work out for them, that's for sure. Are you going to miss LA? Um, like David Tay said, yeah, I kind of like actually can't wait to go back now. But I did set a date. I did set the date for September, so I'm not going to leave earlier than that. But I wanted to give myself one last summer. So that is why I am kind of staying for the while, and I'm probably going to play in the World Series again one last time for a while. I know I say that a lot all the time, but this is kind of like the 20th anniversary, and the last time I did cash was the 10-year anniversary, so it's like symbolic and all this stupid superstitious bullshit. And also, I think like from now on, since it is the 20th, now it can be like, okay, I'll only go like every 5 years. It'll be like a 5-year reunion like type thing. That way, like, I don't even fucking know what's gonna happen in America in 5 years. We might all be fucking dead. So, who knows? Who the fuck knows? I don't fucking know. I take that back. It might not just be every 5 years. It'll be like if somebody else is like setting it up where it's easy for me to join in and they're inviting me and they're like even staking me, for example, whatever. Or if I have like a lot of money all of a sudden and it's not a big deal to go to Vegas for that week or whatever, then yeah, sure, I'll go. But at this time, my finances are not set as such that I can just throw 10K on a fucking thing anymore, and nobody that I know is really going that often. It's like that's the biggest thing. Like it's kind of, you know, it's kind of going to the club when you're fucking 42 years old. You're like, yeah, I'm an unk. It's kind of like you gotta move on, right? I'd rather live in LA than NYC, to be honest. I'd rather live in NY than LA, to be honest. Wait, what? Are you just stop that? You're going to watch Super Bowl? I don't watch football at all, David Tay. I don't know what you understand. Ellie is better if you have a car. I actually do have a car right now. I've gotten it for the past 4 months. But yeah, stonks and Bitcoin are crashing. That is true. We'll get to that. I'm sure we're gonna get to a lot of shit today. But I just kind of wanted to talk for a little bit because my brain is braining. Uh, I don't even know who's playing in the Super Bowl. That's how like I don't I never cared about the NFL. I just didn't understand why people cared about the NFL. Like in New York, I grew up not really caring about sports at all, right? The reason I got into college basketball was off for obvious reasons, right? I was going to Duke, and yeah, that's just the fucking culture of the fucking college. You just get into it. So I wasn't even into basketball until really like, college basketball. And then actually I might have gotten to baseball a little bit before that. And that's because my best friend who ended up being this girl that I really liked, was really into it. And so I kind of got into it to see what was going on. Kind of a reason why I'm into Harry Potter as well. There was this girl that I was into before that, liked Harry Potter. And then the girl after that was into Lord of the Rings, so I got into that for those reasons. Basically, everything I like is because of a girl. My entire personality is based on the girls I liked, I guess, Just kidding. I mean, sort of half kidding, not kidding. The reason I got into singing was because of a girl. The reason I started playing guitar was because of a girl. Um, anyway, all different girls, by the way. Anyway, Doug was thirsty. Now he's satiated. He's done with women. He's a true cell now. Is that what they call him? True self. It's like Ho Chi Minh when Ho Chi Minh went back to um went back to Vietnam for the last time, like when in 1945, right, when World War II ended. Actually, I think it was a little before that because he was working with the OSS during World War II against like Japanese forces. Um, but I think by 1950 or something, no, he came back in 1945. Yeah, and then became the leader of Vietnam. And then from then on, the state of Vietnam, they spread a little propaganda. I think he was married to a Chinese woman before going back to Vietnam. But they claimed he was a virgin, and his only love was the country, for the country. He was a true cell for the cause, a revolutionary through and through. Did not soil himself with another woman, and he was married to Vietnam. That's kind of the that's kind of the state line, I think. Not quite accurate, but I don't think he sired any children with that women. So they were able to spread that propaganda. So that I'm in my Ho Chi Minh era. Um, so that's that. Let's see. Lots of beef and eggs. I call it a carnivore guideline rather strict here. Yeah, I mean, like, if I were to ever do a carnivore diet, I'd probably include a lot of vegetables in there, and it'd basically just be a very low carb diet. Because I think carbs are just not great in general. Obviously, I'm a huge hypocrite because that's all I eat all day, every day. So I'd never probably be able to successfully pull off a carnivore diet. Gold's going to go big again, I think. Yeah, I mean, I think gold and silver are just kind of cooling off a little bit. It's not necessarily that it's gonna. I don't even know. I mean, the fucking yuan. We'll go over that. We'll go over that later. Did you ever go to a Duke football game? I actually went to zero Duke football games. Absolutely none. I was not into the tailgating culture. I didn't drink at all. They give those tickets away. Yeah, and when I was there, I think they were probably even worse than they are now. I think they had like an almost undefeated season, like a defeated season. Thanks, nutritionalist. Get you a girl that's into StarCraft. I got actually there's a friend of a friend of mine who did that and didn't really turn out. I mean, it turned out okay. I mean, they have three kids, but they're not together anymore, so I guess that didn't quite work out. Would you be willing to discuss how you invested your seventh World Play Series stayed financially set? Actually, immediately afterwards, I invested in the market, which ended up being not the right decision because the financial crisis happened soon after that, and I lost half my net worth in 2 years or 2 or 3 years, and I was like, well, that's life. How long you back in New York for, Dougie? I am in New York till next week. I'm just here. So my mom takes care of my dad, and so I actually don't actually have to be here, but so she's going on vacation for the week. But I guess she wanted to have someone here to like make sure he doesn't croak. So she already prepared like 5 dinners for him. Then I just have to basically give, or he could probably even do it himself, and then like take him to lunch, and make sure he doesn't eat anything that's off the reservoir that he's not supposed to eat. So basically, she needs me to be a substitute Hitler for like a few days, so he doesn't die. I guess that's why I'm here. New York Giants close to Epstein. Bill Gates by getting STDs by Russian hookers. We're not on my bingo card for 2026. I'm actually not surprised by anything that came out. I'm more kind of like thinking about what is the implication. Because, like, obviously, they had this information for a long time, or whatever it is. So there's got to be something more to what is the meaning behind the timing of it. Because correct me if I'm wrong, this was supposed to come out like 2 months ago or a while ago. Was there like a deadline set that they had to release it on this day or whatever? If somebody can verify that. I don't know if like there was supposed to be like a like they were supposed to release it on it was like the 30th, right? Where everything came out. Wait, today is Sunday, Saturday. Yeah, I think it came out on Friday, right? All the stuff that came out on Friday. Um, yeah, so they were kind of like dragging their feet, and all of a sudden it's like this data dump, right? On Friday. Are you getting carnivore and keto mixed up? I don't even fucking know. Go vegan. No, fuck vegan. Vegan is for Hitler, literally. Vegan is for Hitlerians. Man was meant to eat animals, you know. Um, we were given dominion over the animals for a reason. Um, get a girl that's loyal like Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she's loyal or more saving her own hide. You should play the video game Victoria 3. I don't even play video games, bro. W huge Kazari milkers. Don't get a girl that plays a competitive game with you. I tried it before. We were arguing over League of Legends lol. Yeah, probably not a good play. Like if it's like a team thing, then that's fine. But if it's like a thing where one person can be much better than the other, then that could cause tension. It's like when you're in LA, for example, you see a lot of like couples, right? And sometimes they're both in the industry, right? And it doesn't even matter like what the thing is, like what the like if you're a director and the other person's an actor or whatever, because like the roles spill into each other now so much, like it all depends on how much clout you got, right? And yeah, that could definitely cause a lot of tension if there's egos in there, especially if one person hasn't done shit in a long fucking time, right? Yeah, I'm actually surprised about like that. Like, you know, even if I was a famous actor, I don't think I would ever um date another actor or someone in the industry unless it was like fucking like I don't know, meant to be, which I doubt. Now, my cynical side is like that doesn't exist because we all see the Epstein Files. We all see names in the Epstein Files, and we're all like, yeah, that's just anyway. Eating cow is like eating a vegan. Um, I guess humans win again. That's right. This is a new setup. Checking in. Yep, NLP. I'm in New York right now at my parents' house. I don't have my computer. That's why it looks pretty shitty, different. I needed to darken the chat thing. See, it's not mirrored either, so like I'm thinking this is left, which it is. It's left, but then I'm like, wait, oh wait, right, oh wait, See, I don't even know what's fucking going on. Um, I'm visually retarded right now. Don't know how to do anything. I just threw this OBS, like fucking reinstalled OBS and just went on. I mean, fan of Bobby Lee or Steve Lee. I don't even know who Steve Lee is. Um, but not really. I mean, like in his like Living Color or Mad TV days, I was kind of a fan of Bobby Lee. Like, when he was doing stuff with Harold and Kumar, that was pretty funny. But then he just is just like a He's just like kind of like a cuck clown, you know. I don't know how else to kind of like literally like a cuck clown now. I mean, unfortunately, or and it's just kind of like the way he handled that is just like, bro, I can't even respect that. I'm not a fan of anyone who I can't respect. I'm sorry. It's just like if I can't respect you, like it's like because I feel like being a fan of someone kind of is an implication like, oh, I wish I there's something of the choices you made that I admire, and I do not admire anyone's choices where they're in a situation where they just accept their cuckitude. You know, I don't know. Maybe that's harsh. Trump getting head from 13-year-olds, her fighting back is insane if true. Oh man, have you seen Ben Shapiro's sister? Wow. All right, let's stop talking about women with boobs. I don't know how we got into this. It's like a waste of time right now. I agree. LA is greater than New York since I'm used to LA anyway. Personally, I'm suspicious of the Epstein file drops. How do you trust the DOJ? Could be some little sign up here. Uh-oh, hot dog guy. Who's hot dog guy? Oh, yeah. Oh, hot dog. Oh God, even reading the reaction of people showing email screencasts of those files shows the depravities of those people, if you call them that. Wait, are people lagging? Oh shit. Let me try to close more programs. Uh, force quit. Force quit. Damn it. How's it going now? Shit. I guess Mossad is on to me. I'm not doing anything different. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me close that. How's it now? Do I need to close more fucking windows? Let me close this. Just trying to close as many windows as possible. Resources, we require more minerals. All right. How's it going now? How's the lag now? All right, I'm just gonna talk, whatever, because you guys came to listen to me talk, not really fucking look at my 480p face anyway. Yeah, this is always gonna be a little ghetto, but whatever, exactly, whatever. It's not like I'm fucking like sniping people on my fucking gaming console. I'm just shooting the shit like I always do. But okay, so yeah, so after Thursday, after a stream on Thursday, finally getting into it, 40 minutes in. When I woke up on Friday, there was a lot of shit that was going on. I was like, what's going on? I was scrolling through my phone and I was like, oh wow, there is a lot going on here. And it was kind of crazy. It was kind of like, because the thing is, like, you know, I'm sure you guys, I've been telling you guys that, like, over the past few weeks or past couple weeks, I've been writing this entry about Goyslop, how like everything is Goyslop now. There's like more and more slop that on the internet. It's all to distract us against Israel. Ever since the Kirk assassination, right? On September 10th, one day before 9/11, right? To distract from that. Man, so then September 10th was 9/10. So that's like 3, 4, almost 5 months ago. Ever since in the past 5 months, there's just been crazier and crazier stuff. Every fucking, there was a first release of the Epstein Files, and it was just like all redacted, right? We saw all that bullshit. And then they didn't redact it correctly, right? There was that kind of thing going on. And then there was like shooting in Australia that I forgot about that shooting. I've just been like, oh yeah, that happened. There's like, and then this Muslim guy probably destroyed that psyop because he ended up saving the day and taking out the Muslim terrorist, right? Who had connections to the IDF, right? And it's just kind of like event after event after event, and all this while, like nobody's talking about Gaza anymore. Not really. ICE raids, obviously, ICE thing going on. First, we had Renee Good being killed. Then, like a few weeks later, we had that guy, Alex Preddy or whatever. It's just been like one slop fest after another. I'm even probably missing stuff like after Charlie Kirk, like Erica Kirk just coming out on stage looking like a total crazy person, like and that shit coming out about her and like and then like TikTok going down like a week before the Epstein file release. It just feels like one coordinated. Wait, did Iran get attacked yesterday? I don't even fucking know, guys. Let me see. Let me see. Satellite images revealed activity at Iran nuclear sites bombed by Israel. New satellite images show roofs being built over damaged structures following June 25th attacks. Wait. Oh, this is like at the sites that they bombed 6 months ago. Well, how is that news? Fucking Fox News, shut the fuck up. I don't know. I don't think they were bombed, right? Can somebody confirm that? Because my internet is so bad that I can't really check it right now. Anyway, you guys know. I mean, you guys have experienced the past 4 or 5 months with me, right? You guys know all the slop that's been coming on, and then, on Friday, I was just like, oh my God. Like, well, my first thought was like, God, I've been trying to write this thing, and like now the mother of all goy slop comes out into the fucking comes out of the fucking screen. I don't know if you guys seen the craziest shit that's been coming out. I don't know if I believe all of it, but honestly, I kind of wouldn't be surprised if a lot of it was true. I mean, like the craziest parts were like you know, the fucking baby sacrifices, right? And they're eating their fucking shit from their entrails and their blood and guts, and just like, what am I reading? Right? And the reason I think that's kind of like possibly true is because there was this woman like 20 years ago or 15 years ago that was like, they're eating children. Like, and I guess back then everyone thought she was a crazy person, but then she disappeared. There's all these people fucking saying all this crazy shit and then disappearing, you know? And I'm like, this is some dark fucking shit. Like who knew, right? That like remember the Pizzagate QAnon people? Everyone thought they were so crazy. This is like what, 2020? Like 2016 to 2020. People thought, oh, what are you fucking talking about? Like Pizzagate? What are you, the pedophile ring? Now it's like the Pizzagate people are like the most sane people in America, apparently. They knew what was happening. Um, all the ritual sacrifices and cannibalism and dendrochrome is true. Dig the Pizzagate stuff back up. I mean, I didn't really like look into Pizzagate. That I kind of like vaguely know a little bit about the edges of what that is, and I saw the QAnon documentary on Q on HBO. I didn't really know what was happening back then. I didn't pay attention to that crazy stuff. But apparently I should have. Apparently I should have seen the signs, so to speak. Now, I'm not saying that I believe in the occult. I'm not saying that I believe that because they worship Satan, they have all this power. I think that's correlation, causation. We got to back up a little bit. I think it's more because they're so powerful, they do crazier and crazier shit, and which leads them to do the cult type stuff or whatever. Because it's kind of like I forgot what I read it, but I read it recently on Twitter, something like how the if you even if you just take addiction to a basic drug, for example, like with me with weed, right? When I started weed in 2017, it was once in a while and with friends, right? But then over 2020, I was just kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna use it to sleep because A, there's nothing better to do right now. We're in the pandemic. We got to shelter at home. So why not just fucking use it? And B, I could take it or leave it if I wanted to. I took it or left it in the past. And then fast forward 5, 6 years later, I'm struggling through a fucking 90-day quit, right? Or 83 days. And in the same way, it's just kind of like because towards the end, towards last year, I was doing like probably 20 to 25 milligrams at least per night, I think. I don't know what the exact dosage was, but I was definitely getting fucked up, right? And so if you extrapolate that to like sex and whatever, it's just kind of like, well, what's crazier than sex with hot women? Well, I guess pedophilia, or and what's crazier than pedophilia? Well, maybe we just eat some baby entrails, maybe we do some crazier shit. Maybe that'll get us whatever the fuck, whatever, we need to be more satanic to get more of that rush. It's ironic because I feel like um the events of the past 2 to 3 years, ever since the 10/7 happened, I'm just like, I kind of believe in Christianity again. You're just like, what is happening right now, guys? I don't know if you guys also saw they apparently had like on the Epstein Island there was like this list of all these drugs you could buy. They, they had them like in quantities. You could buy them in bulk. You could buy them whatever. I was like, holy shit, this is like a smorgasbord of like shit. Let's see what I got. Let's see what you guys are saying. Uh, counter the Doug slap, voice of the Doug slap, exactly. Fuck, I missed that. Well, what would be the point lying about this stuff in the Epstein file? Yeah, I don't think anything in the Epstein files is fabricated, and I'll get back to that. But I think they were, especially the emails back and forth. Well, first of all, it doesn't sound like Elon's denying the emails that are actually true. So I feel like the emails, at the very least, are actual correspondence. They're not like made up shit. With gvacations at gmail.com, all those fucking emails. Few tards need apologies. Dig the Pizzagate. I don't even know. Great thread. What's great thread? Pizzagate was 1 week before the 2016 election. Oh. Austrian painter believed in the cult. Yes, he did. I'm reading a little bit more about that recently. I am almost finished with the Red Book. I don't know if you guys know about that. It's Carl Jung's book. It's kind of fucking crazy. I learned about Pizzagate last year. Heavy stuff. That's a lot of THC. What is adrenochrome? What is adrenochrome? I don't even know what that is. Is that like adrenaline? Chrome? Anyway, you guys have probably already seen this take, but I'm gonna mention it anyway. I can't really look up anything on this computer while I'm streaming because I think my performance is already like fucking terrible. But anyway, let's zoom out, right? Let's zoom out. Okay, they had these files for the longest time. They had the files. Dispatch, as somebody commented, does seem to be very Trump focused. We all know everyone else was in the files, right? I mean, there was stuff with Prince Andrew. There was stuff with Bill Gates. There was stuff with some other people, sprinkled in there, right, for good measure, as well as Bill Clinton. But we all pretty much know for sure that Mr. Bill Clinton was in there a lot, right? It's just that Trump is in office, so it seems like this was deliberately done by someone who has enough power to do this, whoever it is. Maybe it's Mossad, maybe it's the CIA, maybe it's some other entity. But let's get one thing out of the way, right? Let's get one thing out of the way. This isn't like some sort of because of the efforts of Thomas Massey, this all came out and there's work to be done. Like, get that shit out of my fucking face. If anyone says something like this was the because of due process, see the system works, we just have to trust the system and get that shit out of my fucking face. This was released at this time for some reason. It might not even be readily apparent right now. It might not even be readily apparent for another month or so. But something was the cause of this. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, the process is the wheels of justice are slow, but they turn all the, whatever the fuck they're talking about. No. Something is going on. And initially, my first thought on Friday was like, oh, they're trying to force Trump's hand right now. Because if you guys kind of like paid attention to the Iran stuff, all the generals, as much as we love to clown on how retarded America is, and they are, they're not completely 100% retarded. I mean, they kind of have a little bit of experience. And so all the generals basically apparently telling Trump that invading Iran would be a bad fucking idea. Um, for, I'm guessing, a lot of reasons, a lot of strategic reasons, a lot of political reasons, a lot of whatever reasons. It just would not serve American interests, right? It might serve someone else, some other country's interests, but it would not serve America's interests, and the political fallout would be too fucking. But then it's almost kind of like this last batch of files that were released. It's kind of like you can say, like, even if they are these emails or whatever, they're just emails, right? They're not hard evidence. It's all circumstantial, right? There's nothing there that can convict anyone. right? It's all kind of like even that blood entrails stuff. That's all testimony from a witness, and it's just kind of like, well, how do you prosecute that? Well, you'd have to have somebody. Either you already have the evidence to prosecute within the deeper recesses of the files that haven't been fucking revealed yet, or there's evidence that exists that's not in the possession of the United States by some other entity, right? Or you have to take those, the third option is like you have to take all the evidence and actually investigate it yourself, which I'm sure they have. So I'm sure it's already in there, whatever the results of their investigations were. So that means let's assume there is hard evidence, because that's probably how Epstein rolls, right? Like he wasn't just inviting them for a good time for the benefit of just hanging out with these rich and powerful people just to get stuff on email, right? We also so if you saw the Bill Gates thing, he had drafted an email to Bill Gates, kind of like with the tone of like extortion of like you might want to do this and you might want to do that, but he didn't send it to Bill Gates. He had it in his drafts. But it kind of was like with the insinuation of like, if you don't pay me X amount of money here and do this, then you might regret it. He ended up not sending it, so maybe he thought it was too um, dangerous to send. I don't know what the word is, or not prudent to send. But the fact of the matter is, it's kind of like, oh, if he's willing to even think about threatening one of the most powerful people in the world, what is he actually inviting them for, right? What is he actually inviting all these rich and powerful people for? Is it just for money? Is it just, oh, I want to have connections so I can make easy money? Well, if you read all these emails, you're like, oh, there's something else going on here. And yeah, so assuming that that's true, then Jeffrey Epstein is probably somebody who's has other sorts of evidence, right? He ain't gonna just if he got like that's probably a thing. If he got like caught and let's say he ran away to Israel or something, or some place where he couldn't be extradited, I don't even fucking know. It's like he was literally, or he was definitely trying to cover his own ass with blackmail material, right? So if that's true, like whatever parties that happened or whatever, I'm sure he had a bunch of that stuff. He has a bunch of video evidence of all these powerful people. I mean, that's basically what Diddy did too, right? With all his Diddy parties. That was the same fucking playbook. And it's been the fucking playbook. It's been like a, you know, intelligence playbook since, video recording existed, right? Like I think like they even wasn't that thing in the CIA in the 1960s? They tried to like embarrass the Indonesian president once by like, he had like they had a sex tape of him like banging some whatever, and then he was like, "Yeah, go ahead and release it. I look like a stud," or something like that, or I don't know. It's some sort of like story like that. So they've been doing this kind of shit for like 60, 70 years, right? So if you zoom out and you think about it like that, what's like we got a little teaser. We got a little teaser of what the Epstein files, or or rather, the teaser wasn't for the public. I mean, it kind of was, but the teaser was more for someone like Trump, someone like Elon, someone like whatever. Maybe not Elon. I'm still on the fence about that. I think there's a good chance he was just too uncool that they didn't want him to fucking, because he's got a fucking big mouth, you know, as we've seen, right? So if you were Epstein and you're running a clandestine island and doing all this shit, of course you'd be like, I don't know if I want Elon. He's like a fucking, ugh, God, it's annoying, right? I've already gotten convicted in 2008. I don't need more heat by inviting this retard. So I actually think there's a chance that he didn't, but then there's something he's also not saying. Elon's not saying. So I don't trust Elon, whatever. And obviously he was lying about what he did and didn't say about the island and what he knew. And it's like, bro, you wanted to go there, and don't tell me you didn't know what was going on because he was convicted of that shit in 2008. These emails came in 2012, 2013. And so I don't know what you're fucking talking about. Like it's like whatever the case may be, like Elon's entire reputation is just in the toilet. Like no matter what happens, even if it comes out that he's like didn't go to the island, he's just like and the biggest thing about that all is like he could have just kept his mouth shut the entire fucking time. Like a Bezos or whatever. Bezos wasn't in the files. But like a Bezos, Bezos is pretty smart, right? I think a big part of the reason he's not in the files is because he knows that type of shit probably exists, and he's like, nope, I'm gonna be. He's like the fucking Terminator when it comes to his goals. His name for Amazon was Relentless. So he's kind of like he's got that Zen like shit going on when it comes to being the tech bro of all tech bros. But anyway, to kind of think about it, it's also like you think about the Samson option that Israel has, right? That's big, right? That's big reason, I think. That's a big part of the reason why in 1973, when Egypt and some of these other Arab files were kind of closing in on Israel, Israel didn't have the conventional weaponry at the time to hold them off. And Kissinger actually and Nixon didn't want to support Israel at the time because they thought it'd be a pain in the ass. Um, and especially since they were winding down the Vietnam War, and they just didn't want to get that involved in another conflict, especially since like people were sick of fucking war. But then Israel kind of forced their hand because they apparently showed them some satellite imagery of some Jericho missiles, the thing that exists in Iron Man, basically insinuating that they had nukes and they weren't afraid to use them. Who were they going to nuke? Who knows? Maybe they were going to nuke America. Maybe they wasn't going to nuke Europe. Maybe they were going to nuke everywhere, everyone all at once. But soon afterwards, Nixon and Kissinger, they sent a package of a lot of weapons to Israel, and Israel was able to hold the day, I guess. And so if you think about that, right, and you think about this, you're just kind of like, okay, so let's say Israel does have all this video and whatever. Well, maybe the release 2 days ago was just a little bit of a nuke. It's like one nuke, right? And it's like not in a populated area. It's just kind of like right over, I guess Greenland or something, or Antarctica, right? Just like show them that you can launch a nuke, right? And the nuke is there, and the rest of us, we're like, holy shit, there's a nuke, right? Why did a nuke explode in Australia? Like the rest of us are like, what the fuck is going on? Why is there a nuke that just went off in Australia? But the people in Washington, they're like, oh shit, we know what that is. We know who has that nuke and who blew that nuke up. We better do something about what they want. It's kind of like yeah. So That makes me inclined to believe that a lot of this stuff is true. They just are not right now, at least, going to give any of the hard evidence that reveals that it's true. It's more like this is what's going to come out. Maybe it's more for the people in power. Maybe they're like, oh, what do they know? What did Epstein really get on me? What did really Epstein? And so by showing this little taste, it's kind of like this is what we already know about you with the fucking files. Like, think about what's going to happen if we release the actual videos, you know. And maybe we got even more stuff behind. This is just fucking door number A, right? What if there's door B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, G? What if there's a whole and there's probably like hundreds of other people's in the files that we haven't even begun to like reveal yet? Maybe there's people in the background. They think, oh, I was just a minor character. It's just kind of like this is a nuke, guys. This is like, and there's plenty more nukes where that came from. This could destroy everyone. It's kind of like if Israel goes down, if we go down, we're taking the rest of y'all with us. That's kind of like what the literal Samsung option actually is, right? For those of you who don't know are Christian or not, Samson was a biblical character who had strength because he didn't cut his hair, and a woman named Delilah tempted him and got him to cut his hair, got him to share what his source of strength was, and then got him to cut his hair, or got him to tell what it was, and got someone else to cut his hair, and then he was weak and then blinded, and then they were about to like execute him, and then he's like, "Oh Lord, give me the strength to one last time," or whatever, and then he pushes the columns of the building or something. And the entire building kills everyone, including himself. And so that's the Samson story. And so the Samson option is kind of like if we going down, we're taking everyone with us. And this is kind of like the elite version of that. It's like if Israel goes down, if you're gonna make us go down, well, you ain't having you ain't gonna be ruling the United States anymore. That's for sure. And so I don't know. Are you guys still here? Is anyone still here? Or am I talking to myself? Where the hell did everyone go? No. I was like, did everyone leave? Am I just like fucking talking to myself? But yeah, I mean that's kind of I don't know if you guys were thinking along the same lines. I don't know, does anyone have any different take on that? You guys have probably already seen, yeah. Well, at least there's one person. I don't know where David Tay went. He was all fucking bothering me at this fucking thing going, and then he fucking left. But anyway, I don't know. Holy cow! Do you think I'm crazy, or do you think I'm whatever, or do you think anything differently? Oh, okay. I'm just needy. I just need some fucking comments to know that I'm not talking to a fucking wall. I think they're trying to push to, yeah, exactly. I mean, not only to just distract, but to be like, okay, I'm playing ball. You don't have to release the files anymore. I don't even know what like Trump is gonna do, to be honest. Like, he might be like, you know what? I don't fucking care anymore. Like release the files. I don't even care. Israel allegedly tested nukes. There were two earthquakes. Oh yeah, that's something I did hear. There were two earthquakes in Israel close to their alleged nuclear facility. I did hear about that. Might want to check the Podesta files again. What was the Podesta files again? I don't even remember that. It was just like from the fucking campaign. But yeah, on the other side, I am sure there are a lot more files about Bill Clinton and a lot of other Democrats. It's just kind of like, well, who's in power right now? See, the past year, 2024, right? Or not past year, but 2 years ago, 2024, the whole campaign, even starting from like when Biden got into office, was about the Epstein files, right? We kept hearing from the Republicans, oh, what do you guys have to hide, blah, 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 from the Epstein files. Because A, both sides are pretty much expecting that they'll never come out. So both sides are like pretty confident. But it's just like whoever's at the side in power is like, oh, why aren't you releasing them? Why aren't you releasing them? Because they know that they're not going to release them because that would implicate themselves. But then the Republicans know, or the Democrats know that the Republicans also got skeletons in the closet. So they're confident just letting it go too. But now, because Israel is doing all this shit, towards the end of Biden's term, all the Democrats had to do was hold out. You know, it's almost like I feel like they threw the game on purpose, right? Right? They're just like let's just hope Biden survives the term. Then we just throw Kamala onto it, and then it'll be smooth sailing because Kamala ain't winning. Nor do we actually really want her to win. Like, let's be fucking real. She's a fucking weirdo. But in the case that she does win, it'll be great for us because she doesn't have anything in the Epstein files, you know. But then if Trump wins, now the ball's in our court, actually. Now the ball's in our court because we know Trump's in there. Right? We know Trump is in those files. Now, Trump and his campaign, assuming the CIA is running the show, right? I'm assuming the CIA is running the show. Trump, off his own hubris, right? Because it worked the last time, right? Calling out the Democrats for shit that you're probably guilty of anyway as well. It worked the last time, 2016, and nothing got released from either side because it was like all mutually assured destruction, right? So in 2024, him being retarded and everything, he's just kind of like going with it, right? He's like, yeah, release the files. We want to release the files, whatever. And then, they get into office, you know, and then there's a whole fucking Binder influencer show last year. It was all fucking redacted. It was like, what the fuck is this bullshit? He didn't release shit, you know? And I guess in Trump's mind, he thought his base would come to his aid and be like, yeah, whatever, it's not a thing anymore. Who cares, right? That was the fucking tack they were trying to make. And then people were like, wait, no, that's not what he voted for. 'Cause the thing about Republicans, like I know Democrats like to say, oh, the Republicans are stupid or whatever, blah blah, or like the average Republican voter. I'm not talking about the people in power or whatever. I'm talking about like the conservative voter or whatever. Most of them were the Pizzagate people, right? Most of them were the QAnon people. Because like the thing about Democrat or Republicans is that, or the conservative voter, they have less trust in the government than the Democrats do, than a Democratic voter does in general. They might not be as educated, they might not be as, but then education can be kind of like a curse because what is that education? When you are educated, but what is the knowledge that's being fed to you from that education, right? That's propaganda a lot of the times, especially in liberal education. You are being somewhat propagandized when you're educated within the limit. So you're not so smart after all, liberals. Even if the in a way being uneducated kind of like makes you less in the matrix, kind of makes you less be able to see things a little bit more objectively. And you know, but the perception or the trope is that Republicans are stupid, MAGA's stupid. Even like Trump said that before. So maybe Trump even was like, oh yeah, they're just gonna follow me along. We have to do is win. We have to win this election. Winning is everything, and now I can do whatever I want, and I can just tariff everything, and everything will be fine. It's like so stupid. He probably thought that was gonna work. But then Republicans, obviously there are some MAGAites who are like, trust the process, whatever. I'm not saying that there aren't any retarded Republicans or retarded acolytes, because there were, but there was also a lot of Republicans who are a little smarter than the average bear, the QAnoners, right? Who kind of chase down rabbit holes. And I think that segment was like, what the fuck is this shit? Right? Elon, who the fuck is this guy? Like telling us about like that we're not hardworking as these H-1B Jeets, you know? They got just like sick and tired of this like Elon Trump kind of alliance. First they came for Elon, right? And then Elon had to go. And then now Trump is like not doing shit, not really helping the average American, not really helping the economy. Like, yeah, I guess like in the beginning of the year of 2025, there was a little bit of leeway in the first half of the year, but then inflation still got worse. The economy didn't get better. And so real world Republicans, now I'm not talking about the online stuff, because the online stuff is a lot of like if you're on Twitter, you're probably like petty bourgeois, especially if you're on Twitter a lot. I'd say that as someone who's on Twitter a lot. You're not part of the fucking working class. Let's get that real. Like I feel like a lot of people think that just being poor and being on Twitter all the time means you're working class. No, that's not. You're probably lumpenproll that you've just decided you're not going to work, and socialism means you just get handouts. That's not what communism is either. So on Twitter, you have a lot of lumpenproll and you have a lot of petty bourgeois people like me, right? And so to the people on Twitter, it might look as if Trump still got all the support because all of those people are still posting in support of him. But offline, he's losing a lot of support because these people are actual working class people, and they're like, this is what you promised, this is what you said you'd do, and you didn't follow through. And you know, I think more and more Israel wants to complete its project, so to speak, the final solution, so to speak, for Israel. They're trying to finally solve the Palestinian question, the the Goy question, I guess. The Jewish question or the Goyim question, right? The GQ, right? They're trying to solve that. Ideally, right? Ideally, PR wise for Israel, the Palestinians would just leave, right? They just go to Jordan. They would just go to Egypt. They would just go to whatever, and then the entire land could be theirs. They would just get, payments to leave or whatever. Just like in Nazi Germany, the ideal solution would be for everyone else to take Germany's Jews off their hands, right? But Zionists didn't want that. Zionists wanted those Jews to go to Palestine, right? So it's just kind of like, oh, I see. Like we all think that we all have choice. We all think that, oh, this was our doing, right? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the other revelation from the Epstein files is that even the right wing was fucking Epstein. Not Epstein, but Zionist controlled. Right? The fucking CEO of 4chan, I forgot what his name is. But he was in the Epstein files, not as a fucking participant or whatever, but like Epstein was like, "Oh, this is a bright kid, whatever, blah blah blah. We gotta talk to him, whatever." This was like in 2012, 2013. And then what happened in 2014? Gamergate, right? The whole fucking right-wing movement, like the alt-right movement, the fucking Pepe memes, all that fucking shit, the stuff that supposedly got Donald Trump into office in 2016. Right? All that anti-Semitic Nazi stuff in 2014, 2015, 2016. All that super like far right. Like today, you don't even see that anymore, right? You don't even see like the Nazi stuff that we saw in 10 years ago. Like, yeah, obviously the Groypers exist, whatever, but they're kind of like they're not even populated by like white dudes anymore. They're all like Mexicans LARPing as white. I think it was 2014, Walunisha. Um, but people are realizing the Nazi rhetoric was coming from inside the fucking house, right? It was coming from Israel, right? Even last year, this all stuff I'm going to be talking about in my article. But like even last year, in May of 2015, 2025, there was a reveal that said that 22 million posts since 2014 came from Israel. And like, I think it was like something like 14 million came from the United States. This is a population of 10 million people, right, in Israel. And 75% of them are Jews. So it's like 7.5 million Jews in Israel posting 50% more than all of America, which has 340. Let's assume that, some Arab people, some Arab Israelites got into the mix, right? And we're posting as well. Let's say it's 10 million. I was doing the math. The average Israel citizen was posting 50 times more than the average American citizen on 4chan. You guys know how crazy and insane that is? Either, you know, everyone in Israel was being fucking anti-Semitic, or the more likely thing is there were people at Mossad 24/7 being like, "Oh yeah, Hitler was right. Hitler was right. Hitler was right." And that's why I say like even saying like stuff like, Hitler was right or whatever, that's goy slop as well. You're just falling into the trap. Like, oh, Alex Presti's Jewish, Preddy's Jewish. That guy's Jewish, that guy's Jewish. I was like, you are doing Mossad's work for them. That's why I get on your ass when you guys do stuff like that. It's not that I'm freaking out, blah blah blah, whatever. I mean, part of it is like, yeah, I don't want my channel to get banned because that'd be, or me getting publicly like assassinated, or I don't even fucking know. But the other part is like, let's think about this. Let's think Let's see the fucking Matrix for what it is. They want people to think all this anti-Semitic stuff because that justifies their existence. They're like, see, everyone's anti-Semitic, so we have to exist because if we don't exist, we're all gonna die. This is fucking feedback loop that they've been kind of propagating for the past 60 years or so, ever since 1967. And this is what I'm going to be talking about. This is what I'm writing about. The exact formula to like why this all kind of like is like this. And then, you know, um, yeah, I don't know where it was going. But all this to say, I mean, I think one thing is for certain now. China is kind of like an indirect beneficiary of all this, right? Everyone thinks it's like, oh, the Nazis, Zionists, blah, 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 whatever. Everyone in the West has such a Western stuck view that it almost feels like China exists outside of the Western paradigm completely. China's only used in the West when they want to compare it against something that's authoritarian or say that it's, bad, whatever. But when there's strife in the West, Westerners only think about Zionists, Nazis, blah, blah, blah. You guys are evil. Republicans are evil. Democrats are evil. They only think of these simple binaries that exist within the West. But then if you zoom way out, right, if you have the global perspective, you're like, wait a second. What did they say about China this entire time, right? It was saying all this shit about China, how Chinese corrupt, the Peng Shuai bullshit from 2022, where she was just probably embarrassed about sharing her tryst online and being kind of needy. It's called shame, guys. It's not called disappearing of Peng Shuai. It's called I am ashamed of what I just posted, and now I need to delete my account and hide so nobody nobody sees me what I'm doing. Clearly, when you see the Epstein files, you see why that shame doesn't exist here. They are so brazen, right? When you see these Epstein files, you're like, they did not expect. They didn't even like suspect Epstein of being a Mossad agent, right? You can just tell that they had no idea, or they not that they had no idea, but it's like, yeah, kind of like they had no fucking clue that this could possibly be used against them, right? It was like it was so brazen, you know? And the way they lied about it, even the way Elon lied about it, it's like, oh, I didn't know. I don't know Ghislaine Maxwell. Like, I don't know who she is. They expected this to, like, none of this to ever come out. Which is why I'm just kind of like, yeah, the elites that you see, the rich people, the billionaires, the trillionaires, like Elon's probably gonna be, whatever. He's like a half trillionaire, right? Or something, some shit. They're not the people in power, actually. They're figureheads. Trump, all these people. They're controlled figureheads. There's another layer of control that exists, you know, probably even above Israel. It's not Israel that's just pulling the strings. It's probably like some layer of like these 200, 300-year-old banking families that you don't even know. I mean, like you're kind of aware of the Rothschilds and whatever, blah, 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 but you're not aware of like their entire network, you know? You know all those fucking Bond films where they like I was watching, James Bond films, and I'm probably going to talk about the WMA stuff at some other point. But the other thing I noticed about these Bond films is James Bond is essentially just a fucking policeman, you know? These criminals are just like trying to extort countries for money. Like half of the time, they're just like, just pay us off and we'll not do the terrorism thing. And it's so simplistic. But the way I envision these banking families, um, and again, it's not just Jewish banking families. There's the Rockefellers. There's whatever people people who have fucking there's probably old Dutch money, from the Italian fucking city states all the way in 1300s. There's a Dutch state. There's people who hid away money like fucking Horcruxes for centuries, right? What's the one thing that Warren Buffett says is the unstoppable force? It's compounded interest, right? If you had money all the way hundreds and hundreds of years ago and just like let it sit, you're just gonna have a lot of fucking money just by dint of like rentier extraction, right? And that's why there's probably a lot of these British or French banking families, like the Swiss banking families. There's all this fucking networks that we don't know about that's probably pulling the strings on all this shit. And so I'm trying to like think about the whole picture here. But one thing that is apparent with China, the Peng Shuai thing, everyone's like, they made such a big deal about that, right? In 2022 when that happened. It was such a fucking nothing burger, but they made such a big deal about it. One thing the West will never gain back is their sense of moral superiority. And this happened because of these Epstein files now. I mean, I don't know if this went into their calculations or not, or whatever. Maybe Israel or maybe whoever pulling the strings didn't fucking care. But they have crossed a moral line that they will never be able to uncross. Because for the longest time, right, just like 100 years ago, white supremacy was considered like morally righteous. It wasn't just considered like, an unfortunate thing, whatever. It was just kind of like, yeah, these other races, they're kind of lower than us, so we deserve to be on top. And yeah, we're that's just the way it is. Even the very concept of like racial equality is a very new concept. Like we treat it like it's should be normalized, whatever, because we live in America. Especially the younger generations, they're like, yeah, racial, like, Black Lives Matter, blah blah blah, whatever. Like these concepts are very new. Martin Luther King was not popular ever in his life. I think even the churches, most of the churches, the white churches in America hated Martin Luther King. So you can see why I'm very against American evangelicalism these days. Like people might say, "Oh yeah, we're a hyper racist," and like now we're post racial. It's like no, that's not a thing. This white supremacy is still a fucking thing. And part of white supremacy is the idea of Western human rights, right? That's what I call, white supremacy. Leftism is Trotskyism, right? Right wing white supremacy is Nazism. We're all familiar with the right wing white supremacy, right? It's like we're better, you are the Untermensch, whatever. But the other side, people are kind of like more waking up to a lot more recently. This will be another fucking entry. God, I have to write so much fucking. I just feel like I have too many ideas in my head. I just have to get them down. But anyway, Trotskyism is basically like liberalism today. It's basically saying oh, these poor people, these uncultured people, these other races, they need our help to develop, right? They can't do revolution on their own. They're kind of too stupid to figure out revolution. So we got to actually give them human rights. Tell them, teach them how to be human rights, teach them how to be civilized. That's actually what the white man's version, right? In 1898, while they were fucking genociding Filipinos by the millions, they were like, oh man, it's our burden. We have to go in there and kill everyone for their, because we're civilized. At the end of the day, we're civilizing them, and they should be thankful for their civilization that we're bringing to them. This Western civilization, this Western culture that we're giving to them. If you don't follow human rights, you're not civilized. You're actually barbaric, right? This is what they said to China for the longest fucking time, right? Never mind how China became so backward and destitute. Never mind the 100 years of like opium that they fucking trafficked into the thing. Never mind all the fucking bullshit that they imposed on the Chinese for like a century. Now, because they're a developing country and because a lot of people are dying due to growing pains of that country, now they're barbaric. See, they're not doing things the right way. They're not civilized like us. We're civilized because, we're doing things the right way. We're America, okay? We have civil rights here. It's like, well, yeah, it's only because you raped and murdered the entire planet to get the material goods to be able to have civil rights. It's like it's easy to be good when you've got money to be good, right? It's like if you were to, if let's say I was poor and destitute and I had to fucking rob someone to feed myself or, if I had a family, my children or something like that. Chances are if I had millions of dollars, I would not have done that, right? It's easy to be good, morally righteous when you've got lots of development of your country that probably came from black people and then Chinese people and then lower white people like the Irish or whatever. It was just kind of like, yeah, you got other people to do that shit for you once you fucking ran the show. And now you're preaching about human rights. But I think with this reveal, this changes everything. That's why I named this episode The End of Western Morality. It's like, for the longest time, we're like, well, we're Christian, and those Chinese people, they're heathens. They're not Christian at all. And all this other moralization, human rights violations, oh, they're actually sacrificing children for, blood stuff or whatever. Like, or they're harvesting human organs, or they're all doing all of this stuff. Like nobody's verifying any of this, right? It's just, oh, they're Chinese, so of course they're doing that. They have no morals. There's no Jesus Christ in their lives that's stopping them from doing. They're probably cloning people. They're probably doing all this medical experiments. They're doing all this weapons testing, you know. And it's just like the entire time it's like the Goebbels thing, right? The big lie, or always accuse the other side of which you are guilty. And even before I was a Marxist Leninist or whatever, a lot of those accusations wouldn't quite sit right because, like, I'm Asian, I'm Korean, I know what other Chinese Americans are like, I know what their kind of culture is like, I know what other Chinese cultures are like. I'm like, I don't know if is that is that accurate? Doesn't sound like. When you look at Hawaii, for example, the lowest incident of violent crime in the United States is in Honolulu. And guess what's also interesting about Honolulu? The most amount of Asian Americans. I think it's over half Asian American city, which has the lowest rate of violent crime in the country. And it's like, wait a minute. I thought these Asians were these barbarian people that just raped and murdered. I thought I was an MR Asian, right? I'm so misogynist because my cultures are so misogynist. Not like these Western cultures. That's so cultured and civilized. We come from these terrible, terrible authoritarian Confucian patriarchal societies that don't understand what it's like to be civilized towards women. But then when you look at the rape statistics, when you look at the murder statistics, when you look at the overall crime statistics, you're like, wait a second. Oh, it's because Asians have a lot more money. It was like, well, okay, even controlling for income level, you're just like, no. I mean, if I were an alien from outer space, right, and I were to be like, who's the most civilized race on Earth? The alien would have to say Asian people at this point, or East Asian people, I guess. I don't know too much about South Asia these days. No offense to any South Asians in this stream, but a lot of people, call, oh, you're being an Asian supremacist, bro. I got that a lot of that over the past 6 years, and I'm just kind of like, I mean, is it being an Asian supremacist if you're just spewing facts? I mean, the proof is in, like, am I objectively wrong in saying that Asians overall are morally, like, materially morally? Like, I don't know what's in your heart. I don't know what's the metaphysical shit that's going on in your spirituality or whatever. But materially speaking, I would say we are the master race when it comes to morality. Um, but I think, like, yeah, like I was saying, these Epstein files, they're way beyond whatever, like, they accuse China of, right? And I think, like, maybe not Westerners or white people in America, whatever, but I think the rest of the world is sort of being like, you know what? I don't think these Americans are being quite so truthful when they talk about other countries anymore. They seem to be not quite morally righteous themselves. If this is what comes out of a Christian country, I don't know if Christianity is the right thing for me. Um, but yeah, I think this process has been happening for a while of questioning not only America but the West's kind of like moral high standing. Um, I think for the longest time, especially after the Cold War, America and the West, they relied on propaganda to keep us thinking that the West was morally righteous, especially when it came to communism or other sorts of non-aligned countries to democracy, so to speak. And I think with these Epstein files, this is kind of like the straw that finally broke the camel's back. This is like, for whatever geopolitical purpose they serve or whatever, that I don't know, right? I can only speculate. But what I can say for certain is that from now on, no one is going to listen to a moral argument from the United States when it comes to another country. I mean, no one other than the United States or other Western kind of aligned countries. Like the non-aligned rest of the world, and maybe even the ones that are like kind of like junior partners or whatever, they might start being like, you know what? Maybe it's time to reconsider things. And you can kind of already see that with the UK and Canada. And I'll get about that. I'll get on them at some point. I think this was the UK and Canada or the Anglo states kind of plan the entire time. Make America be the fall guy for all this nonsense. Well, they kind of be like, yeah, we're just trading with China now. We're all good. We're all good guys. We're the good whites, We're the moral right. Like, fuck you. I know. I see what you're doing, England. That doesn't escape me. But I think that'll also catch up to them in the end too. I don't think they're going to get away with whatever they're trying to get away with. Anyway, even the ICE agent that shot Freddy were Hispanic like Nick Fuentes. Yeah. If they don't monitor every move of a Chinese person, even when they go to the bathroom, it means they disappeared by the bench CCP. Exactly. Not sure if you covered this earlier, but why do you think they decided to release these files? I kind of did cover that earlier, but essentially, I think it's like the propaganda Samson option. It's kind of like showing one nuke to be like, we got them. We got the nukes. So you might want to tread lightly, so to speak. So that's a summary of it. You could watch the whole thing if you or go back if you want to hear more about that. Protect Jensen Huang. Why protect Jensen Huang? He's like whatever. I think it's those old institutions that made a lot of money off opium trade in China and India. Oh yeah. I mean the Ivy League, it's all fucking opium money. You guys know that, right? Before colonization, China and India were possibly 50% of global GDP. The institutions that looted those countries are pulling the strings. Yeah, that's probably true. Dougie, are you in Zuck's bunker in Hawaii? Does this look like Zuck's bunker in Hawaii? No, I am in New York, in my parents' home. Anyhow, I'm about to end soon. I'm kind of tired. So I'll do, yeah, if anyone has any other questions, I guess I'll try to wait for a minute or any other conversation thing that we want to talk about, since it kind of worked a little bit last time. I don't fucking know. How's the stream? Is it lagging? A bit, but it's better now than before. Yeah, I mean, Wild H, I don't know if you've caught that, but I am on my laptop, my 2019 laptop, so performance is not going to be good. I'm in New York. Should I buy gold? Uh, I don't fucking know. I mean, I wouldn't go all in. Maybe dollar cost average. I would consider buying yuan. You know, I feel like Chinese yuan is a safer bet than USD. If you have a lot of USD, probably, yeah, maybe get into some yuan. Just diversify some risk. Um, but yeah, I don't like USD in general right now, prospects. But at the same time, it could feel like gold might cool down a little bit. So that's why I suggest more of a dollar cost average strategy, not going all in right now, because who knows, it could drop again. But I don't fucking know. Silver, I think it's just going to follow gold. I see it as the Ethereum to Bitcoin. So you might as well just get gold, in my opinion, because gold is going to be the more stable version. If you want to play around, I guess, get silver, but I think people are just kind of like the normies might be more attracted to silver because it's like less expensive per ounce. So they're like, oh yeah, it's a smaller price, so it's just gonna go up fast, right? Like it's like, no, that's not how it works. You know, get rubles exactly. Get stuff that's not USD, or at least diversify some of your USD. As far as the stock market, I would advise probably getting the fuck out soon. I think I don't know. I mean, I've been saying that since 2019, so take it with a grain of salt. I've thought the market was built on funny money for a long time, which is probably true because they've been able to just print money for the longest time, and I guess that's how they get out of it, right? And so while the absolute price of those things might not go down, the value of it does because it's still denominated in USD, which they're inflating. And so, uh, yeah, it's not looking good in any sort of asset class. Um, like gold has run up so much right now that I'd be cautious about getting too deep in it now, unless you've already been deep in it. I don't know too much about currency trading, to be honest. I'm just like thinking, like, what's gonna be useful in the future? Well, that's probably gonna be yuan, right? People are gonna be still demanding yuan, especially now that Xi is kind of petitioning for it to be a world reserve currency. I'm like, okay, well, you guys know that I'm bullish in general in China, so I feel like yuan is the way to go. If you want stable, if you want to, because I feel like right now people shouldn't be trying to chase returns at this point. People should be thinking defensively. That's why I would, if you have no like precious metals or commodities at all, then maybe expose yourself to a little bit of gold. I don't even know if I would touch Bitcoin at this point. I don't even fucking know what's going on there. I've been reading something where apparently in 2024 there was a halving, and the price back then was around 100K. So in order to like keep up with the halving, whatever, a lot of the bigger miners upgraded a lot of their software and hardware stuff, but then the costs of maintaining that kind of like over time crept up to like 100K or so per Bitcoin to produce electricity wise. And so with this recent kind of downturn, now it's being unprofitable to run it that, but then you can't really, if you stop, then other places are going to be benefiting from it. But it's just kind of like, well, if some of them have to drop out, now they're going to have to sell Bitcoin to cover their costs, and it could cause like almost like a Bitcoin bank run, if that makes sense. I'm not sure 100% if that mechanism is that precise, but I would say on the other side, I don't see like because I've been following crypto for a while, and the entire time there's always been a narrative for Bitcoin to go the next level up. And there's also been a lot of funny money with Tether, which apparently is also in the Epstein Files. So I feel like Bitcoin has gone to a price right now that we're never going to really see those like insane returns ever again. I feel like the casino has kind of like gotten to a point where the only money to be made is like by rug pulling meme coins. And because of that, I think like the overall general public that has money to throw at Bitcoin, they know about Bitcoin now. In the past cycles, there was a lot of like people just didn't even know what it was, but people know what it is now. So you're not going to get new money, if that makes sense. And because a lot of people have been burned by altcoins and meme coins, you have a segment of the population who's not ever going to get involved at all again because of such a bad experience with it. So there's no real source of where this new amount of money is going to come from because the institutional money is already in there as well. And they're just there to capture kind of like the trade and the spreads, right? They don't really care about Bitcoin becoming this huge thing, like as an investment themselves. And so I think we're going to see a lot of chop with Bitcoin, especially since there's no new technological narrative that's coming out anytime soon that's going to boost it. And the other big factor is that Bitcoin, throughout its entire history, has only existed in a market upturn. Like the market has been up since 2009, the global markets. And so I don't even fucking know what the result of a global market downturn would look like to Bitcoin's price. So that's why I would advise anyone who's like more than 25% crypto to consider taking some of that off the table. Consider just taking some of that off the table. That's just not financial advice. It's just my opinion. You know. Did I read Jekyll Island? No, it's still on my list. I'm got so much to read, man. I got so much to read. I know it's important. It's important to read. I know, but I mean, I've been around finance enough to kind of like probably guess. But yeah, I should read it. I should read it sometime soon. If you're in the US, bullets, jerky, and MREs are the way to go. Kidding, kind of. What are MREs? MR, masturbation, retardation, ejaculation. Alrighty. Uh, that's my cue to leave. So, meal's ready to eat. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense. I'll probably try to do this on Thursday as well. Is this time? I mean, sorry I'm late. I was late, and that's probably why people are here. But is there a good time that people like on Thursdays? Because I probably gonna try doing it maybe even a little earlier. Um, because like I kind of want to hang out with my parents a little bit, or maybe later. Maybe later is better since they might be sleeping. I don't fucking know. We'll see. I'll talk to you guys in the Discord about that. All right, get canned fruits. I'll do that. Freeze dried foods. We'll do that. All right. Or I'll just like go to Asia. Sounds like a better plan. All right. I'll see you maybe on Thursday. Good night.